Q&A. Question 1 comes from Cooper Simon. Thanks for the question, Cooper. This is a good one. Who is your favorite OU player before your time, favorite OU player after your time, and most underrated OU player during your time?
Hmm. Um, Favorite OU player before my time, Joe Washington. Love Joe Washington. Love his highlights. Always love to think about like what he would look like in some of these newer offenses, and get that dude out in some space is just absolutely incredible before his time. Um, Favorite OU player after your time, two of them, Blake Bell and Drake Stoops. Those two are tied. And those are my three favorite Sooners of all time. That's my short list. Everyone knows that. But Blake Bell and Drake Stoops, the reasons for those two guys are totally obvious. Everyone knows. Awesome guys. Most underrated OU player during your time. This may sound weird because he was a first round draft pick, but it's Andre Wolfold. You have a guy that was, he doesn't get talked a lot about like that era of players. And I mean, I guess I can understand why. You got Roy Williams, you got a bunch of like really well-known guys. But Andre Wolfolk was like, I think was probably the leading receiver on the 2000 national championship team. And to take a leading receiver, pluck him off the offense, put him on defense, and becomes a first round corner, and probably the best special teams player during that entire period. I was on all of the special teams phases, block kicks, block punts. Just an incredible all around athlete, Andre Wolfold.
Okay. Those are all fantastic answers. Favorite OU player before my time? Easy. Trent Smith. And there's a story. There's a story. We played Clinton, I think it was 7th grade. We went to Clinton and played them. And I actually believe I forgot my cleats and my brother had to drive them out to Clinton. By the way, that was shout out to my brother Ben. But ended up getting the cleats and I was playing tight end in 7th grade. I wanted to play quarterback. They wouldn't let me play quarterback for whatever reason, but I was playing tight end. Had a good game, Ted, and I will never forget it. One of the Clinton coaches came up to me after the game, and this was what, 2004, and said, "Son, you're the best young tight end I've seen since Trent Smith." Trent Smith was a
Ah,
Clinton guy.
nice.
And that meant a lot to me at the time because I think Trent was the 2003 draft,
Yep,
if my memory serves me correctly.
that's right.
So that was like a big boost for me as a young football player. I
Heck
knew I was
yeah.
good at it, but it was one of those where it was like, damn, like Trent Smith is from Clinton. The Clinton coach said that, and I was fired up.
That's pretty cool. I like that
And
stuff.
but I
That's
was I
cool.
was a Trent Smith guy before that moment, but that just kind of, I don't know, it just made me a bit even bigger fan. He got drafted to what, Baltimore, and I was following him
Yeah.
and his NFL career. But I was a big Trent Smith guy. Favorite OU player after your time? It's easy. Baker Mayfield. That's I I would have given anything to play with him.
Yeah.
It just, and it was because of how he was as a leader, but just the plays he could make. Man, I mean, it was wildly entertaining. I think he's the most loved OU player of all time. And it's hard not to have him at the top of the list. I know it's the easy answer, but
It is. I've said it a million times. I I've been to a bunch of big football games, been a part of a bunch of big football games. I've never at any level seen one guy in a stadium have 80,000, 100,000, it doesn't matter. Everyone is watching him the entire time. Whenever their offense is out there, whenever the defense is out there, whenever they're warming up, post game, the entire place just follows Baker Mayfield around. How entertaining he is. It's unbelievable.
It's just the easy answer. And then the most underrated player during my time, a lot of guys come to mind, but I thought Tony Jefferson was just so good. And the hardest I've ever been hit in my football career was being hit by Tony Jefferson. I was just like, not doing that again.
That's not a shock. I think both Tony Jefferson and Kenny Stills that you play with are massively underrated.
I don't know why. I felt personally attacked when Tony Jefferson went undrafted.
Yeah.
And I wasn't mad with Tony and Kenny because they left early, right? Really could have used them my senior year. Really could have used them. So there was, I wasn't outwardly angry with them, but inside I was like, oh, they would really help me have a great last season. But I just remember thinking it was the craziest thing ever that he wasn't drafted. I didn't care what he ran in the 40. The dude, a football player when you see one. And that dude could play football.
Put a really nice NFL career together too.
Made himself some good money. And this is going to sound strange. I still think Ryan Broyles is underrated.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it to people. That guy was just so good.
Mm-hmm.
He was so good. And by the way, he was so strong. People do not realize how strong he was. He didn't look strong, but he was strong. And just had this he had this incredible sense of space and zone coverage.
Yeah.
Where to sit down, where to throttle down, like finding the holes. He was awesome. And his name doesn't come up nearly enough when you're talking about the best players in OU history. He was so damn good.
Yeah, I agree. And he had a great style to him too. You could see a lot of guys like the way they run, and you instantly know who they are when you see them on film. Doesn't even matter what number they're wearing. He's one of those guys. It's pretty cool.
DeMontre Hurst also on that most underrated list.
Yeah.
Just not someone that people talk about, but he was pretty dang consistent, the speed, and also one of the most likable dudes ever, which is always a good. So I've got a lot of underrated.
Yeah.
I got a lot of guys on the underrated list, but yeah, good question, Cooper Simon. Moving on. This one comes from @Todd KS1, who says, "What's the most challenging thing episode to episode of getting it finished?" Is there anything challenging? I feel like we are in a pretty good workflow.
It's a pretty good workflow, I guess. Like if there's anything that's challenging, I guess sometimes it's scheduling and when to record. There's a lot of different stuff going on, but that's really not that difficult. So that's pretty easy. Knock on wood.
It helps that it's simply a two-man operation. So for anyone that doesn't know, a little look behind the curtain. No one else helps us with this. You're looking at people. I say, "Hey, can I talk to your producer?" Yeah, talk to me and Ted. Can I talk to your marketing department? Yeah, right here. Your editing people. Yeah, talk to us. What do you need? We got you. This is a two-man operation, which can make it difficult, I guess, at times that we don't have a bunch of people doing stuff for us, but it also keeps it very, very simple because we don't have to worry about anyone else.
Simple. We got a format that we stick to that's pretty straightforward. And hey, since we've started, it's pretty much been a nonstop flow of content from OU. So that has helped a lot.
That has
We haven't
been
had any dry spells of content.
just a reminder, we started this during April of 2020.
Yeah.
The absolute worst time to start a sports podcast. They weren't playing sports, but it's worked out. So as far as challenges, the most challenging thing is once the season ends, where the hell is my wife going to have me to where we like,
Right.
that's basically the most challenging thing is doing it while traveling. That's
The
about
Road
it.
Game podcast. That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And just sometimes you got to hope that the Wi-Fi gods are smiling on you. So other than that, great question, but I'd like to think we're having a lot of fun doing this, and the challenges are minimal.
It's an underwhelming answer when there's not a whole lot of stuff behind the scenes that you've got to, all of the magic just comes
And
quick.
yeah, and it's not. Let's just be real. We're not winning any awards for production value on
Hey,
here.
no one's listening for production value. Wrong podcast.
Yeah. Well, we try to make the content good. That's what we try.
Yeah.
That's what we're banking on. Okay. Next question. This comes from at OU DNA guy. What cut of steak are we ordering? And how done are we getting it?
Easiest answer ever. Porterhouse, medium. Now, a lot of places don't have that. If they don't have that, filet, medium rare.
Are you going to tell the Porterhouse story from the bowl game?
Oh, down in uh where was that? Orlando?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think you should tell that story.
what's the steakhouse we went to?
I don't know. It was just, I think we
It
just
was a
found it
good one. It
on,
was really nice.
yeah, we found it on Yelp.
Yeah, I had an argument with the waiter about the steak. I ordered a porterhouse. He brought it out. I said, "That's not a porterhouse. That's a T-bone." Oh yeah, it is. No, no, it's not. That's not. Which I'm not wrong, right? Like,
You were not wrong. The guy did not realize who he was entering the discussion with. It wasn't an argument. You were very calm. You were not hostile in any way. You basically were just teaching him. Like,
look,
no. Let me tell you about that. Let me tell you what a porterhouse is. I think you even pulled out pictures on your phone and said,
yeah,
no, this is what a porterhouse looks like.
yeah. Yeah, and hey, you know what? It's not his fault. He just brought out what they cooked him in the back, but that's the best. That's what I go with. If they don't have that, filet, medium rare, nothing special. Maybe Pittsburgh style every now and then with a little extra sear, but pretty straightforward.
I'm with you. This is not an exciting answer. I'm sorry, OU DNA guy. I am the biggest filet they've got on the menu. And depending on the day and depending on the steakhouse, like if you're somewhere really, really nice in the state of Oklahoma, if you order medium, you're probably getting something closer to medium rare.
Correct.
So if I'm in Oklahoma, I'm going biggest filet they have on the menu, medium.
Yeah. And
Now,
I don't
if
mind
I'm
a
out of the
steak
state,
medium.
if I'm out of state, I like the warm pink center. I'm not looking for
Right.
a ton of red, if that makes sense.
I feel like there's like this built up pressure to order your steak. Like, who's the guy that's going to order it the rarest at the table?
Yeah, why is that a thing?
I don't know. I don't know. But like if it's a good cut of steak, to me, if it's cooked medium, perfect. No problem. And like if you're getting like a T-bone or a porterhouse or something like that, take it the stage up from where you typically order it because of the bone. So pretty easy guidelines for me. It's always worked.
I like it. This question comes from at Jaeger11 Robert. My guess is that human's name is Robert Jaeger. Maybe not. I like this one. He says, who, what, and why? Who was your biggest supporter growing up? What is your definition of success? Why the game of football? There's a lot to unpack there, man.
Who was your biggest supporter growing up? I outside of just saying my family, my parents, they were unbelievable. The things they had to juggle and balance and all of that. I feel like that's just such a easy answer. You know what I would say? I had an amazing group of friends growing up. You know, Fort Gibson was not very good at sports, really not good at football, bad, historically horrible at football. And we had a group of friends that, I mean, there was 8 of us or so. We basically started like one of our friends' dad basically started putting us through a legit strength and conditioning program like in the 6th or 7th grade. And it continued like all the way through. And that core group of guys stayed together, played together. I mean, lived together basically. To me, that really made me more competitive. Made me kind of fall in love with the off season of football, like the strength and conditioning part of football, which ended up being, you know, a huge factor. So I think I would say that group of friends. Definition of success. Is this athletically? Is this life? Is this
I don't know.
I think that a definition of success is it's simple. It's happiness. And that comes to people in a bunch of different ways. Maybe that's financial freedom. Maybe that's where you are with your family. Maybe it's you've been able to get your dream home, whatever that is. But to me, it's happiness. If you can do what you want and at the end of the day feel fulfilled, like to me, that's everything. And it doesn't matter if it's sports, if it's like whatever occupation that may be, if you can wake up every day and do what you want, like to me, that's success. Because, and you know, that's not the only definition, but like to me, that is the ultimate that we strive for, right? Is to do what we want and get paid for it.
I think I think that's a great way of framing it. One of as far as the definition of success for me, and I don't know if this is a strange way to view it, but I always view things as like if I put as much effort as I can into something, I can kind of just live with the result. And
be able to walk away from it and say, I did my best at whatever this is. Like whatever happens with it.
And that's like my football career, my NFL career. Did it go the way that I wanted to? Would I define it as a success? I don't know, but I felt like I gave it my best shot. You know what I mean? So that's where, yeah, I think the definition of success for me now is much different than it was before I had kids. I think now for me, it is my definition of success has shifted from, you know, being an NFL player to now I feel my purpose has shifted to like being a good dad and husband.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how your life transitions from one to the other. Now, I still want I want our podcast to continue to be the most popular podcast here in the state of Oklahoma. That was the goal when we started it. We've accomplished that goal. I have zero intentions of giving that up. And we're going to continue. And I view what we're doing here as successful, but I want to continue to grow our listenership and like all those things. But as far as success for me personally, I feel like it's just my success is going to be it's going to be measured by how happy my kids are
Yeah.
and like how they feel about me. Like I will feel successful as if we got 2 kids now, who knows how many we're going to have. But if those kids, if my 2 kids are like, you know what, I love my dad, and like my dad's great. My dad's the best. Like that's what I will view as success. And obviously the same conversation for my wife. Like he's a great husband. He's a great father. There's been this shift in my life since we've had children where, yeah, I want to be successful in radio and podcasting, that stuff. But I don't know, just when kids come into play, just
Yeah. Perspective.
your whole view on life just kind of shifts.
Yeah.
Or at least it has for me.
No, I totally agree. Yeah. What? Okay. So why the game of football? I don't. That's interesting. I guess like
I know mine. I I was just good at it at a young age. And I was huge. Like I was a huge kid. And I loved basketball. I thought I was going to be a basketball player. Loved it. Was very good at it at a young age. And then you kind of have this moment of realization. Start watching the NBA. You're looking around going, I'm probably not going to be 6'10". Looking at my parents. Maybe football is where I will experience the most success. And I think at a young age, getting like being good at something, you build confidence and it like builds your self-esteem.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know, just naturally happen. And I think being in the state of Oklahoma with OU football is just such a big deal. I don't know, it just kind of happens.
Yeah.
My parents certainly weren't going, hey, go play football. You need to go to college for free like that. I didn't have that type of pressure. It was just one of these things like, you want to do it? Okay, go do it. Oh, you're pretty good at it. Oh, I'm pretty good at it. And just kind of went from there.
Yeah. For me, I don't know. I played everything.
Yeah,
I
so did I.
played soccer, played baseball, played basketball, ran track, was on the swim team, did absolutely everything. But it was all just killing time until I got to play football. I was maybe the best at baseball, but there was something about the sport that I remember watching TV and seeing guys on TV and just they looked badass. Just I don't know. I was just immediately drawn to the sport. And when all my friends started playing and my dad wouldn't let me play, I cried and wailed like a little bitch for a long time. It was like I wasn't going to get over it forever. But I finally got over it. And the next year when my dad let me play, I was just, from that point on, every other sport, the first time I played tackle football, every other sport just went like down to nothing. Like, this is what I want to do. Now, I still played everything, but I don't know. There's something about it that you're just kind of the physical nature of it, the camaraderie of it, to me it's I mean it's I don't know. It's like legal battle. is about the best way to explain it. And I don't know, just immediately drawn to it from a very young age.
I tell people this all the time. Why people say why is football so popular in America? And one of the things is my oldest son, when he was 1, go act like you got hurt in front of a little kid and see how they respond. They love it. Go like pretend like you're running into something to just fall down and be like, oh, for whatever reason, we are wired to love physical contact like that. I don't know why. And
Yeah.
that's, I don't, there's something about humans in general that love the physicality, like the collisions of football. It just, I'm not entirely, I cannot explain it to you scientifically, but every time I act like I was getting hurt, my son thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And he loves football already. So,
That's great.
I didn't answer the who's your biggest supporter growing up. So outside the family, like my parents, my brothers, my grandmother, I would say, and it's weird. It's not weird, but my buddy Nick Coffey, we were in the same grade and we grew up down the street from each other. And we went to the same grade school, same high school, and he went to OU. And he was the only one I knew that was as competitive as I was.
Was this the Grinch?
No, not the
Oh,
Grinch.
okay. Okay.
No. This guy, he works in the DA's office now. Big brain guy, went to law school, very
Good friend
smart.
to have.
Now fluent in Spanish, just decided to learn Spanish during COVID and is fluent in Spanish. Very smart, intelligent, awesome guy. But at a young age, and we were friends, but we also like we would do some weird like we would get angry when we lost. We'd play video games against each other and get mad. We once went bowling. I remember this vividly. I don't know, we were 12, 13, whatever. We went bowling and I can't remember if I won or he won, but somehow my shoes ended up in the trash can. Like my actual shoe. We were hyper competitive and he was a good basketball player when we were young. And his dad coached our Christ the King team. They'd take me to practice. I don't know. I'm just going to be real. He was like one of the very few friends I had growing up. And I don't know, that sense of competitiveness that we always had kind of in everything, I think was important for me.
Isn't it funny how, as kids, when you're growing up, like you can end the day like so mad at a friend over something like as dumb as like a bowling game or a video game, and then the next day, it's not. It's just like, hey, how's it going? Whatever, It's like that day's totally scrapped. There's nothing else that follows it. It's funny.
It
Wish
is.
that carried on.
All right, here's the last question we got. This comes from at Hunter_Teague, Tighe, Teague, Tige, Tige. I don't know. Ty? I don't know. I'm trying, Hunter. I try my best. He asks, what's been your most meaningful memory from the time you began working on the radio broadcast until now?
Huh.
You've been doing it longer than I have, but I have a couple that jump into my mind pretty quickly.
Most meaningful memory from the time you've been working on the radio broadcast till now. Huh. I'm trying to think of how to take that as.
Is it like the most exciting moment?
Yeah.
Meaningful's hard to, it's a tough word to unpack.
It is. I the run of OU Texas games that we've had has been incredible. And I still think like the best football game I've ever seen was the 21 OU Texas game, the comeback, and all the crazy things that happened in that game. As far as like the most memorable broadcast and 4.5 hours on air or however long that game was, I have to go with that. I mean, that was it was awesome. The broadcast was awesome. The crowd was awesome. Storming the field, just everything that happened that was an incredible experience. For radio, that's as good as you can get. That's all you could ever ask for in a broadcast.
I I think mine's the same. I thought about the 2019 Baylor game in Waco,
Yeah.
that comeback. That was awesome. But the yeah, that OU Texas game, 2021. And one of the reasons it's so meaningful is because of something that happened going into the locker room and then something that happened after the game. I the first half did not go well. Well documented, did not go well. But Kennedy Brooks was walking by me. I was walking to the ramp to just go to the bathroom. And Kennedy Brooks was walking by me, and I turned to him and I said, "Hey, you guys can still win this game." And we started talking. It's like, "Hey, that you're not going to play that bad. That type of stuff isn't going to happen in the second half. Like you guys can win this game. You got to go in there and make those guys believe." And we were just chatting about it. And then the second half unfolds the way that it does. And after the game, he comes up to me. He's like, you told me, dog. You told me." I was like, "Yep, yep." And it was just
That's awesome.
it was a cool moment, you know.
That
But
is
that one's hard to beat, man.
yeah. That's incredible. Incredible. Had everything you could ever imagine in a football game. We went through it post game. I can't even remember all the stuff. It was crazy. That was awesome.
Another fun Q&A session.
Love them.
And we've got so many good questions to get through. We'll mix these in the off season because we just have a lot of fun doing them, and it's just a nice little change up for the podcast.